She doesn't know why your presence feels different. You haven't said much. You haven't made a move. But something about you lingers. It's not what you say. It's what you make her wonder. And when you finally do speak, the question isn't loud. It isn't clever. It's quiet, direct, and strangely intimate. What would change if I sat an inch closer? She freezes. She's not sure if it's a joke, a dare, or something else. Her heart speeds up. Her voice doesn't know what to say, because for a moment, her body answered before her brain could. That's what this video's about. You don't need pickup lines. You don't need tricks, approval, or validation. You just need to know how to speak to the part of her that most men never touch, her imagination. Because the men who create the strongest tension don't talk more. They ask better questions. If you can drop just one of these questions at the right time, not to impress her, but to invite her deeper, you'll change how she sees you forever. You only need one or two of these to become unforgettable. So pick the ones that feel most natural to you, and when the moment comes, drop it. Then let the silence do the rest. Let's begin. Number 1. What would change if I sat an inch closer? This isn't a pickup line. It's a slow detonator. Because most men rush toward women, they close the space too fast. You do the opposite. You hold space. You let her feel the distance between you. You let her notice how close you aren't. And when you speak, you don't ask to move closer. You ask her to imagine it. What would change if I sat an inch closer? This question flips her mind into a place most men never access. Suddenly she's not listening. She's feeling. She's visualizing that 1 inch. She's picturing what it might feel like. And because you've made her imagine it, the feeling becomes hers. That's the magic. It's not about physical closeness. It's about psychological intimacy. Why this works so deeply. You're not saying, "I want you." You're saying, "Let's play with presence." And that's far more powerful. This question also works because it lets her make the decision internally. You didn't move closer. You didn't touch her. You didn't escalate. You simply asked her to think about it. And thought becomes emotion. Emotion becomes tension. Tension becomes memory. And memory becomes obsession. When to use it. Use this when there's stillness. When she's laughing, don't. When the room is loud, don't. But when the conversation slows, when she's leaning in just a little, when her smile is soft and her voice slows down, that's when you say it. Software calm, almost like a whisper. What would change if I sat an inch closer? Then stop. Don't follow it, don't qualify it, don't look for a response. She'll fill the silence with curiosity. And if she doesn't say anything, her body will. A shift, a blink, a pause in her breath. That's how you know it landed. The real effect. This isn't about making her act. It's about making her feel. You're not giving her pressure. You're giving her space to react however she chooses. And that lack of pressure, that's what makes her body trust you. And trust creates openness. Openness creates energy. And now, you're not just a man she's talking to. You're the man her nervous system can't quite forget. Because you didn't ask for anything. You didn't move an inch. You just made her wonder, what would happen if you did? Number 2. What would happen if you stopped guarding yourself just for one question? Most men are too afraid to enter the places where a woman actually lives emotionally. They stay in the safe zone. Small talk, surface-level compliments, predictable charm. But the man who can gently lean into her defenses, not with force, but with calm suggestion, becomes a presence she can't ignore. That's what this question does. What would happen if you stopped guarding yourself just for one question? It's not a demand, it's not pressure, it's an invitation into the most intimate space of all. The moment where she chooses vulnerability. Why this question works. Every woman builds walls, even the confident ones, especially the confident ones. She's learned to protect herself from shallow men, from emotional exposure, from feeling too deeply when she's not sure the man in front of her can hold it. But the moment she hears this question, calmly spoken, not rushed, she starts to wonder, am I guarding something right now? Would it even be safe to let that wall drop for a second? Why do I want to, just because he asked? And in that moment, she's not analyzing you anymore. She's analyzing herself because of you. That's the shift. You're no longer chasing her energy. You're reorganizing it from the inside. The psychology of the guarded feminine. A woman's guard isn't always cold. Sometimes it's wrapped in playfulness, or flirtation, or laughter. She's not lying. She's just not revealing. She's hiding behind charm, behind mystery, behind energy that feels social, but not intimate. Most men take what they're given. You don't. You see through the performance. You watch her words, then her pauses. You listen to her tone, then the silence between phrases. And when you drop this question, what would happen if you stopped guarding yourself just for one question? It doesn't expose her. It gives her the power to choose openness. And the second she feels that power, she relaxes. Not physically, emotionally. That's where real tension begins. How to say it without pressure. This is key. The question only works when spoken with calm, detached presence. You're not begging her to open up. You're not probing for secrets. You're inviting her into a different type of interaction, one most men never even reach. Your tone should be quiet, software, almost as if you're thinking aloud, not testing her. The phrase, just for one question, is the safety valve. It gives her boundaries. It tells her you're not here to overwhelm, only to explore. And that's the difference. You're not opening her, you're offering the key, and she gets to decide if she turns the lock. That freedom creates safety, and safety creates desire. When to use it. Wait for the moment where the energy between you is stuck in surface flow. She's being charming, but not present. You're laughing, but it feels scripted. You both feel the potential, but it's not moving anywhere deeper. That's when you pause. Let silence stretch just long enough to get her attention. Then, calmly ask, what would happen if you stopped guarding yourself, just for one question? Then stay silent. No smirk, no stare down, no over-explaining. Just stillness. She might smile nervously. She might laugh. She might test you. Let her. Because she's already inside the question. Her mind is playing it over and over. She's not thinking about whether you're attractive. She's wondering why she wants to answer. What this unlocks. This one question can open a floodgate. She might reveal something small, but real. Ask you a vulnerable question in return. Pause, and simply look at you differently. That look, that pause, that shift in posture, that's not attraction based on appearance. That's emotional proximity. And proximity creates energy. Energy creates tension. Tension creates memory. Once she answers that question, even halfway, you're no longer a stranger. You're someone who saw the wall and gently asked if she wanted a break from it. That level of awareness is rare, and rare men stay in her mind long after the moment ends. Number 3. What do you hope I never find out about you? This isn't a trap. It's not a trick. It's a mirror. Because the moment you ask this, you're not just speaking to her personality. You're speaking to her shadow. Every woman carries things she hides. Sometimes it's shame. Sometimes it's fear. Sometimes it's softness that doesn't feel safe in a world that rewards performance. But every woman has one thing in common. There's a part of her she doesn't want you to see. And when you ask, "What do you hope I never find out about you?" you're not exposing her. You're telling her, "You can be that full person with me, even the messy parts." That's magnetic, the psychological pressure of being seen. Most of the time, attraction lives in what we want someone to see: our best side, our beauty, our fun, our charisma. But desire, real desire, lives in the exact opposite space. It lives in what we hide. This question reaches into that place, not with judgment, not with demand, but with a quiet curiosity that says, "I can hold whatever you carry?" That's rare. And that's what separates emotional chemistry from physical interest. Why this question stands out. You're not asking what she regrets. You're not asking for secrets. You're asking her to look at herself the way you already do, without performance, without persona. You're saying, "I don't just want the version of you that smiles when it's easy. I want to know what you protect, and why." But you say it without pressure. And in that stillness, something powerful happens. She doesn't feel interrogated. She feels witnessed. And once a woman feels seen beyond her social mask, she doesn't forget the man who did it. How to ask it smoothly. This question works best when the energy between you is already grounded. Maybe you've shared something honest. Maybe there's a pause in the conversation that feels heavy, but in a good way. You don't blurt this out. You let it flow from silence. You glance at her. You smile softly, not seductively, just gently. Then you say, slowly, "What do you hope I never find out about you?" And then you go quiet. No stare, no reaction, no pressure. Just space. Let her mind go where it wants to go. She might deflect, she might smirk, she might say, "You don't want to know." That's fine, because in that moment, she's already thinking about it. And that thought puts you in her mind in a way no compliment ever could. The hidden effect. This question doesn't just build trust, it builds emotional polarity. You're the calm, steady force. She's the mystery. But by offering to hold the one thing she's protecting, you become the one man she feels safe exploring that mystery with. That's the root of feminine surrender. Not obedience, not submission. But the moment she says, "I want him to know me," fully. And when she feels that, her guard doesn't just lower, her energy wraps itself around you. Practical usage tips. Use this when things feel real. Not too early, not too rehearsed. Watch her non-verbal response more than her words. Stay calm, stay still, stay silent after asking. If she shares, don't comment, just nod and hold space. And if she flips it on you, be ready to share something true. Not impressive, not dramatic, just honest. Because the real game isn't in what she says back. It's in the courage you model by asking without fear. That's what builds emotional tension rooted in respect. And respect is what makes her choose you again and again. Number 4. If I leaned in right now, what would your body say before your mouth? This is where emotional tension meets body language, where the spoken word pauses and the unspoken takes over. Every woman has two dialogues happening at once, one with her words, calm, smart, measured, and one with her body, involuntary, revealing, honest. When you ask, "If I leaned in right now, what would your body say before your mouth?" You're not teasing. You're not touching. You're activating that deeper layer, the one she doesn't control. And in that moment, she feels everything shift. Why this line cuts through. Most men focus on what a woman says. But women feel attraction first in their bodies, not in logic, not in explanation. They feel it in a shift in posture, a pause in breath, a sudden glance away, a tension in their fingers, a warmth rising without permission. This question shines a light on that space, gently. And because you're not acting on it, you're simply acknowledging it, you create safe pressure. She doesn't feel forced, she feels recognized. And the moment a woman feels that a man can sense her without rushing her, her desire deepens. The beauty of suggestive calm. Notice the power here. You're not asking to lean in. You're not declaring what you'd do. You're imagining. You're asking her to imagine it with you, not through words, but through sensation. That's where this question lives. It bypasses flirting. It bypasses logic. It opens a portal to inner reaction. Her body starts answering the question before she even processes it. And that's how desire forms, not from chasing, but from internal activation. How to use it properly. Timing is sacred with this one. Use it only when the air feels different between you. Not when you've just met. Not when you're both distracted. But when the space between you has slowed down. When the conversation softens, when silence feels electric. That's when you lean in, just slightly. Not close, not forward, just aware. Then ask gently, "If I leaned in right now, what would your body say before your mouth?" Then stop. You're not asking for a kiss. You're not implying anything explicit. You're inviting her to notice her own instinct. That's where the true seduction lives. What she feels when you ask. She feels caught, but not in danger. Caught in a moment that's real, unscripted, and emotional. And suddenly, the mask drops. Because in that moment, she forgets to guard her posture. She feels her own breath. She's aware of how close you're not, but could be. It's not a question about you. It's a mirror that reflects her nervous system back to her. And that experience is unforgettable. Because most men pull her out of her body with too much energy. You pull her deeper into it, with a whisper, what to watch for. After you ask, don't wait for a clever answer. Watch her. Eyes, breath, shoulders, stillness, lips. If she says, "I don't know," that's a good sign. It means she's feeling, not filtering. And that's the effect you want. You want to become the man who makes her feel things she can't immediately name. That's emotional tension. And emotional tension creates addiction. Number 5, if I whispered something into your mind right now, what do you wish it would be? This question doesn't ask for attention. It opens a door into her imagination and quietly steps inside. There's no demand, no direction, only one invitation. What part of you wants to be reached without words? And once that door opens, you're no longer talking to her personality. You're speaking directly to her desire. Not just physical, but emotional, symbolic, private. This is the question that activates a conversation she wasn't ready to have, not with you, but with herself. The power of implied intimacy. When you say, "If I whispered something into your mind right now, what do you wish it would be?" You're not leading, you're guiding. She isn't reacting to you. She's revealing herself to herself because of you. This question feels playful. But beneath that playfulness is something far deeper. Psychological intimacy. It allows her to participate in a moment without being exposed. Because you're not asking her what she's thinking. You're asking her to imagine what she wants you to give her mentally, privately, secretly. And because it's a whisper, it's gentle, it's hidden, it's safe. That's where her curiosity blooms. What she feels when she hears it. Her brain might laugh. But her body? Her body gets quiet. Because the idea of someone whispering into your mind is powerful. It's not about words, it's about presence. It's about someone being so close, so intuitive, that they don't need your explanation to feel your craving. And when you ask this, her pulse doesn't rise from excitement. It rises from exposure. Not public exposure, not performance, internal exposure. Because this one line doesn't make her think about you. It makes her feel seen in a way most men never reach. When to use this question. Use this when the tone between you has slowed. Maybe you've both gone quiet. Maybe there's a soft smile she hasn't explained. Maybe you've both dropped into the space where performance dies and presence begins. Ask it like a passing thought, not a seduction tactic. If I whispered something into your mind right now, what do you wish it would be? Say it softly. Don't raise your eyebrows. Don't lean in. Just stay where you are and let the silence build the weight. She might ask, "What do you mean?" She knows what you mean. That's not confusion. That's testing. She's checking to see if you'll rush. Don't. Just smile gently. And stay still. Let her feel the weight of her imagination doing the work. That's where tension is born. The real impact. Most women are asked what they think. Very few are asked what they wish they heard. This question taps into her fantasies, her childhood wounds, her emotional cravings, her need to be felt without being chased. You become a mirror, not just of who she is, but of what she wants to be given. And when a woman starts to want something from you, but can't explain why, that's desire. Silent, subtle, complete. Bonus application insight. If she shares something, don't overreact. Don't congratulate. Don't analyze. Just hold it. The tension isn't in what she said. It's in the fact that she chose to tell you. If she doesn't answer, good. It means she's feeling something private, and your presence is tied to that feeling. You've gone from conversation to memory. And memories linger. That's the real goal. You're not here to impress her. You're here to create a space where her own thoughts become tied to you. That's how you imprint, without ever touching her. Number 6. What do you notice first when someone makes you feel safe? This question is the most grounding of them all. Because while desire lives in tension, connection lives in safety. And most men forget, a woman cannot fully lean into attraction unless she first feels permission to relax in your presence. This question creates that permission. It tells her, without saying it outright, I'm not just watching you. I'm aware of your nervous system. That awareness builds something stronger than excitement. It builds trust. And trust when paired with calm masculine energy, turns into emotional chemistry so deep, it feels spiritual. Why this question disarms her gently. When you ask, "What do you notice first when someone makes you feel safe?" You're not asking her about her past. You're asking her about her body's language. You're making her scan herself. You're inviting her to notice how she responds to safety, not as a theory, but as a lived experience. And by doing that, you move her out of her mind and into her own nervous system. That's where emotional memory begins. What makes it so powerful? This question is subtle, but it's not small. It says, I don't just want you to feel good around me. I want to understand what allows your guard to drop. And that focus? It's rare, because most men want to be interesting. You want to be felt, and being felt doesn't come from performance. It comes from presence. This question becomes the space she didn't realize she was craving. A moment where she doesn't have to impress. A moment where she doesn't have to defend. A moment where her breath deepens, her thoughts slow, and her body softens without effort. That's safety. And safety, when offered calmly, leads to openness. Openness leads to intimacy. Intimacy leads to unforgettable energy. When to use this? Wait until the moment you feel her energy slow down. She's no longer analyzing. Her laughter is lighter, her voice is softer. This is the window. Look at her gently. Then say, without overemphasis, what do you notice first when someone makes you feel safe? Then hold the silence. Don't smirk. Don't explain. Just breathe. She might not answer immediately. That's fine, because her nervous system is now responding, not to the question, but to your presence. And presence is the most magnetic force you have. Why her answer doesn't matter. It's tempting to look for insight in what she says. But the truth is, her answer is less important than what you just created. You made her feel calm. You made her feel seen without effort. You made her remember what peace feels like in a conversation. That alone puts you in a category that most men never reach. You're not competing for her attention. You're becoming the one space where her body doesn't feel the need to perform. And that's intimacy she'll crave again and again. What this unlocks in her, once she recognizes what makes her feel safe, she'll start associating that feeling with you. And that's the deepest form of emotional imprint. When a woman feels, I feel more like myself when I'm around him. I breathe easier when he looks at me that way. My mind slows down when he speaks. You've reached the deepest layer of connection. That's not game. That's internal mastery. And it makes her desire not just your attention, but your presence. Not just now, but again and again and again. You've just learned 6 questions. Not pickup lines, not tactics, but emotional keys, crafted for a man who doesn't chase, but leads energy. These questions weren't meant to get quick responses. They're meant to stir something deeper. Each one invites a woman to enter a space most men never create. A space of emotional openness, sensual curiosity, and inner permission. You didn't touch her. You didn't compliment her. You didn't even move closer. You made her feel like you were already there because you spoke directly to the part of her she rarely reveals. And now, you're not just in her memory. You're in her nervous system. Because desire doesn't come from being loud. It comes from being undeniably present. If you reached this point, comment unstoppable, so I know you're the kind of man who finishes what he starts. That already puts you in the top 1%. But if you're ready for something deeper, if you want a full Bad Boys Psychology ebook packed with exact phrases, patterns, and frameworks that rewire how women emotionally respond to you, comment Level Up below. You'll get a blueprint that'll change how you move in rooms, not just to attract, but to lead, influence, and become the presence women can't ignore. Support the channel, share the message, because every man you help bring into this mindset becomes a ripple of strength in the world. This is Stoic Psychology. No hype, no games, just quiet, masculine gravity that speaks louder than words ever could. See you in the next one.